Hi, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us again today for another new exciting episode of our series of embodying and co-creating new earth energies consciously, collectively. Today is our third episode, and today we have the lovely Cat Corchado with us, who I am so excited to bring in and introduce. Cat, is there anything that you would like to say or to introduce yourself to kind of explain what you do and the awesome service that you provide? I'd really love for you to bring that in through yourself. So if you'd like to come on in.
Sure. Thank you so much. It's great to be here in this area with the goddess Anastacia. My I don't know what you call her. Like, she's an embodiment. We're an embodiment of each other. We're like twins. But my name is Cat Corchado. I am an Air Force veteran, retiree from the Air Force. And it took me a little while to find out who I was. And I've stepped into that realm, not kicking and screaming, but lovingly. And I found podcasting at a very late stage in my life, but I'm glad I found it, which is how I found this woman right here, who is amazing.
Well, I found you too. I found you too.
And so we found each other and we connected on, I don't know how, on a realm that's just unbelievable. But I'm so glad I did, because she is near and dear to my heart. Even though I haven't known her that long, I feel like I've known her for a long time. So thank you both for having me today.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that about yourself. And thank you for everyone that's coming and joining us as well. So for those of you that know me, do know that I feel all the energies as we're on here live. And this is more than three of us just coming and talking and chatting. These are new collective consciousness embodying energies coming through live streaming for an upgrade. And today we're upgrading the crown area. That information came half an hour before we would have come on, Kat. And what I love about you in who you are, because I want to get into who you are and what you do. And yes, I was in the military, you were in the military. You do a lot of things, and what you do in your podcast, I want to stick with the beautiful soul that you are in bringing through what you do. And you don't sort of live in my world of all my spiritual talk and stuff, but it's not about that. It's unconditional love knows unconditional love. I felt your energy when I read in the Women's Veterans Group what you were offering to us in Australia. And I had a story to tell I hadn't told this story since 1991. I hadn't told that story in full, and I waited, and your energy in what you wrote and offered to us, in your passion and in what you're doing in helping people speak up. You helped me to speak up and voice, and I hadn't found anyone strong enough in all my years that knew how to hold space with my energy to allow me to speak up and share for the very first time. And I thank you so much for my life. My life changed when you did that, when you held that space. You changed my life.
Oh my goodness, I had no idea. You know what word I think of when I think of you and I is synchronicity. We just kind of ebb and flow. I love that. I love that. And you don't find many people that it's easy. Yes, it's easy. You don't have to try. You don't have to pretend. We just flow. We ebb and flow. And I love that. I love that a lot.
Yeah, it's we're like two little girls when we get together and we catch up. You just met Chris before we came on, and I'm like, I don't want to talk too much because I want to save all the magic for everybody to see, because so much goes on before we come in. And I said that the last one too, it's important, and we just catch up and we just raise higher and higher and higher. There's no ego, there's no competition, and that means you've gone through a lot. Yes. That means you too have gone through a lot in your time. And because how one act of kindness can change the world. You said may, I went can. I just changed it. It can change the world. Okay, big shift is happening right now. We're all going through an energy upgrade. So if we just can't see, you're aware of the chakras. You told me you're aware of those things. And that's enough for somebody to feel, because today is about everybody from all walks of life to feel this human embodiment of more than just the words that people talk. It's about feeling deeply. And Kat, for you to hold a space for me, and I will share again, I was started this morning to share again a copy of that podcast with your and my episode that we had.
Oh, yes.
So I know that you're the only other person that I know of that I can relate to when I talk of my passion and my mission and my role and all my platforms and the videos and everything I'm bringing through for humanity is a must, and it's in service. And I served in service, and you served in service as well. How interesting that energy and passion you have, I feel that you're also feeling that living in service with your passion, with what you're bringing through in your podcasts, with who you're talking to some pretty amazing people with some very deep stuff. Chris, is there something you'd like to bring through here? I can feel your energy weaving with us. I just...
Yeah, for
Once
sure.
I get with Kat, we just go, and we sort of said we need to be aware with Chris, and Chris, you might have to pull us up a little bit sometimes. So, it's Chris and Anastacia too, hello.
You're doing perfect. But no,
Oh,
what I
you.
do have to share is and like I even just went on Kat's website real quick and she has like an awesome little write-up there, and just through that write-up you could feel her passion for what she does, and being what she does. Like, to me, the topic of this episode is, how one simple act of kindness can change the world. And really what she's doing is that in full embodiment, because to her, she's holding a podcast, but like you said, to allow other women, veterans, to share, their stories and to be seen and heard, just like you were, that's freaking huge. So I so honor you for that.
Thank you so much. I just realized that there was something missing. When women are in service, they have things that happen to them, good, bad, and indifferent. And they don't have anyone to tell. And then they come out of the service and they don't have anyone to tell. Mm-hmm. And I wanted that platform. And it's not about elevating me. It's about these women getting on this platform where they feel safe and they feel secure and they're able to just tell their story. And I'm just here so that they can tell their story. And it's been a wonderful journey so far to hear these women that talk about things that in some instances were horrific, but knowing that they're able to tell their story on a platform where they feel that they can tell their story. And that, to me, that was important. I felt that was missing in the podcast realm. And I'm so glad that I went with my passion and I was able to bring this to fruition. And I'm so glad that I went on the Facebook page where Anastacia was, and she reached out to me, and it's been a wonderful relationship.
I want you to understand how much more it is. I did really good letting you talk without coming in. I had so much information come through. I did really, really well sharing the energy.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. I feel today will help you and change you in a way for you to see how much bigger it is by getting this feedback, by getting this mirror back. I feel it's important. I just do. And for whatever reason that is for you in your personal private space, whatever you've gone through in your life, we don't need to know. But I know there is a part of you that needs this. I just, in all I am and who I am, for whatever reason it is, okay, there's a big shift coming now. Pitch is shifting in the ears, which is a balance to do with the solar plexus, the yellow in our stomach. It's from past wars. Now, the fact that you and I both served is because we know in past lives we had to finish this off in this lifetime. My pull to join the military was so strong. And in a time of, I was the first or one of the first to call it World War III ages ago. And then it became people saying this is spiritual, what we're going through now. This is our World War III.
Yes.
And what you're doing in helping, and thanks, Chris, for looking that up and saying what you said, what you read and felt about that. I really honor you for honoring Cat with that. It's good for her to hear that. So Cat, you will know why this is, maybe not at the moment, maybe later on, why I'm being guided to go this way with you. And thank you for holding the space, because the women that you're hearing, take me out of it. I need to just remove me. And the ones are the ones that are the hardcore forefront women, Cat. The ones that are doing things that haven't been done before. Does it tend to be more of that? And not saying that everybody's story is not important, but you're just holding this incredible space, darling, that's breaking through newly for the planet. And I want to say that because it's important that I say that.
Oh, thank you so much. I never think of it on that realm. I really don't.
You never feel of it. I want you to feel it. I want you to
Yeah.
feel of it, because that's how big and important it is what you are doing.
I feel sometimes that it's very, that, and I don't feel it all the time, but there are times when I'm doing the podcast where I feel like it's reaching out. You know what I mean? Like it's
good.
It's doing this. You know, it's not just this platform and we're going this way. It's spreading out.
Good. Have you ever felt it was not seen? Because I just got, when you said, oh, okay, I got the words not seen. So I'm going to shift that energy, because that's the energy I felt.
I think though, that aside from the platform, there are times when I have felt that not with the podcast, but just in my own life of being unheard and unseen.
Okay, that's the energy, exactly what we're removing for everybody here today. Now, as I'm shifting that up, and I've shared before briefly, when I shift energy, see a big, like a crystalline rainbow bubble, like the ones you blow out of bubble blowers, and in it, it's taking all these dirt and residue, and we're taking that bubble, we're removing it up out of our energy field, and I'm just releasing. And see that vision go up, just removing old energy. And I'm looking through who's here at the moment. There's some beautiful souls here. Matthew, Kerry, Daniel, Debbie. She says, I'm so happy I made this one. Good morning, Nancy, Amy, Natalie, Marty, Teresa, Grace, Christy, it must be your Christy Trujillo is watching. Diudzi, she said, honoring you, Kat. Thank you for being here in this space, sharing your whole being with us. Deb Daniels, Rosa. So Lisa, there's quite a few here. So, and as we read people's energies out, it names out, it's about reaching, as you said, Kat, it's going like that. So we were just releasing then the unseen, because so many of us have felt like that. And everything that you said and described about bringing through the podcast for a new platform you saw that wasn't there mirrors what I've said. And Chris was listening to us before, because we're mirroring, and that's these videos. It was something missing, a platform, and that's what these video about, something different.
Yes.
To support those.
Yes.
That have got something to bring out as well. We all need the support. You supported me. I'm here to help support you, to support others as you support me to support. Everyone's supporting somebody.
Yes.
You don't need to be doing podcasts or videos. You, the person in your life with your children, your partner, your sisters, even with yourself, with the earth and animals, every single person is included in this. And so that's what these video platforms are about, bringing through, embodying in human consciousness, bringing on amazing souls that have been unseen and behind the scenes for so long, building up a lot of life experience in human years. And Chris, there's something, a message you'd like to share about that, about the respect and the humbleness that you said to me. This is important to hear. It's very precious.
Absolutely.
What you shared with me.
And it's like I told Anastacia, it's something that really has to be honored, especially for the ones that have been here longer in years, because you guys have come through a whole lot more than what we have for those of us that are here in younger years. So even though those of us that are younger tend to pick up quite quickly, that still can't be overshadowed by the fact that you guys have, the older generation has blazed the trail, you know, and paved the way for us. And for me, I told her that that's really a huge thing for me, is humility and the humbleness of, you know, as we come to work together and you know, for one common goal, it's like we cannot forget that honor, you know, for each other, and to see each other for what each person has to share and offer, you know, because every single person has unique gifts and talents that they have to bring through and offer for humanity. And that's something special that's, like I say, unique to each and every one of us.
I love that.
I love it too. And it doesn't mean that we egotistically feel we're better than those that haven't been on the planet longer than us. But the reason that came up, and I thanked Chris so much for saying that when he did to me, when he wrote it, because it was just something that came up with souls that younger, that they're feeling this. I mean, remember when we were in our 20s, yes, I'm here to make a mark and do something and change the world. And I want to do this and this and this. And they feel that they're the first ones doing it.
Yes.
And so for me, in my world of what I called old ascension and new ascension, because I've been doing this 26 years, Kat, you'll be able to apply this in some way. And I'm looking forward to hear what this is bringing up for you to share with me and what I'm saying. Okay. Is that, okay, big shift happening. Whoa, there it goes. Whoa, big bubble of old energy just come up then. There was a lack of that humility and respect for our souls that have been sharing and experiencing for a while, and they would get on their very little high horses, and it's just like, breathe, come down. We need to have a mutual respect. Kat, is something coming up for you here with this at all?
I feel that, you know, when we get to a certain age, you know, that people see our, you know, some people, a lot of people see us as old. Yeah. But my father used to say, he said, you know, when I was younger, I was like, oh, you're just old. He said, you don't get to be my age being an idiot. So we've been through little mini wars. Okay. But we've learned. We've either learned from the mistakes we made, but we've also learned from other people to get us here to where we are right now.
That's right.
We have a lot of knowledge. We have a lot of life learned because of what we've been through. But yet we've kept our humility. We've kept our kindness. We understand where we are in life right now. And right now, me and Anastacia are stepping into our spotlight. I can tell you that. We're just like, okay, we know what we're doing. We're stepping into our spotlight and we're putting it out there. So
I didn't expect that I would be, I'm 57 this year. I didn't expect that, you know, for me, I felt it was going to come earlier. And a lot of people get very frustrated, and I go, slow down. Been there, done that as far as, and I was expecting this and that, and especially in ascension in life at the moment, the biggest message, Kat, that's coming through is everyone needs to stop. There is a big wave that needs to come backwards for the new to come in. So that energy had to come through. Whew, let me shift out of that space. That went all sorts of places.
I understand. We feel, you know, I want everybody to just stop and take a breath just take this huge breath and just be still. We're just like, we've, because of everything that's been happening, I feel as though that there's this shift and it's not in the right way. And that's where, when you told me to write something, that kindness kept coming up. And we need to just stop and realize that without each other, we're nothing, that we feed off of each other in a good way. But when you feel this energy from people, it's like we've been caged up. And all of a sudden we're let out and we're like, badass kids, they haven't been out. We're like, oh, they're all over the place. And, we're just trying to be nice to each other. We're all going through stuff. And if we just take a minute and, kindness isn't, a random act of kindness, I said, isn't something that you plan. It just happens, holding the door open for someone, or they drop something and you pick it. It's a reflex. You pick it up, you bump into and say, oh, I'm so sorry. How was your day? Someone just looks frustrated. How are you? I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's okay.
And that's living in service. That is also what I call living in service and Christ consciousness in our words and terms. Okay. So in that's living Christ consciousness. And doesn't mean we have to get on it and record and do a video to show everyone, look, I was kind to this person today. It's not that.
No, but it's doing that random act of kindness without expecting anything back.
That's because you want to.
Because you want to. It's there. And you do it and you keep it moving. You don't say, oh, wow, I did this and she didn't say anything back. That's not a random act of kindness. So I'm sorry, did I go off on a tangent?
This is exactly, no, darling, you honed into, because I shifted all that energy. And again, what we did was worked in beautiful. You could see that I just went, oh my gosh, so much. And then you went into beautifully what you wrote to me about what your episode 3 is about. And I was just reading what you wrote is, do you think this could change how we feel about each other? Also, remember, our kids are watching everything we do and don't do.
Exactly.
We all
kids are so intuitive. And they're like, oh, they don't know. They don't know. Yeah, they know. If they don't know, they feel it. And so when they see you do something, a random act of kindness, they're watching. Mommy, why did you do that? That person they needed a compliment today. They're watching and they're feeling. And if our kids saw us do more random acts of kindness, then they grow up to be someone who does random acts of kindness. When they talk about when you're a mom, that you don't know how good of a parent you were or are until your kids are adults and you see them in their life and you go, wow, I did a good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or holy crap, I sucked as a parent.
No, I get what you mean. There's things that are blossoming with Joey now. He's 21 and a half. And because I gave myself such a hard time because, post-traumatic stress from the abuse in the military, and he just got brought up, I say, a little bit differently, and there was a lot of things. I couldn't go on holidays. I was chronic fatigue, laid up in bed for 15 years, in and out. And so Joey went through a lot of stuff. And every kid goes through something different. I can only say for me. And so, gosh, I felt so bad. And I've cried tears and tears and tears. And then I had to reach a point of letting it go, to that the best that I, was the best that I could do. And just love myself for what I went through. And there's things that I'm seeing blossom in him now that I go, okay, now I can see the results of the seeds of those hard times and how I was reparenting, and it's never too late, and how I was able to turn something and now that's blossoming. So I've just found that for me recently, whereas your son's a lot older than mine, so you've had more years of experience in that way. I still call myself a new mum, so motherhood is one of the most challenging things I've ever found. It wasn't what I thought it would be. It really was one of the most challenging experiences for me to have. So
It's one of
anyway,
the hardest, it's to date, it's the hardest thing I've ever done is be a mom, be a single parent, actually. The hardest thing. I mean, boot camp, all of that, you know, I don't care what it was. That's the hard, you know, because it's like you're molding a child, you know, you're molding them from what they see and what they're seeing, what you're doing and what you're saying. And I think one of the things that the parents make a mistake on is their kids seeing them as perfect. I wanted my kid to see that I was imperfect and that I would own up to it. You know, if I yelled at him for whatever and I didn't mean to, I would immediately turn around and say, you know what, I'm sorry, that was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. And realize that I'm not perfect. But I think when you said that word blossoming, that if we did an act of kindness and tell someone, pass it on, imagine how that would blossom around the world. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, thank you. How can I repay you? Pass it on.
That's important that you said that. Because I was pretty fucked up when Joey was a lot younger, it took me, mine was a little bit different. I wasn't that conscious to do that. That's part of what I did in reparenting with him. So, and then I started as we grew together, Joey and I, and communicating. It was only later on I was then able to start own, and it was very empowering to create a new connection with him. So yeah. Good on you for getting and realizing that earlier on. I didn't. So
no, I don't think I realized it. I just realized that I wanted to be a different parent than the parents I grew up with.
I love that. I love that.
And
I love that.
There had to be a different way to do it. I think there was a little bit of luck in there too.
Now, well, I'm actually consciously working. Chris, I can feel that you want to share something with that. Is there anything you want to share, darling?
Yeah, for sure. And really what I'll say is, you know, looking at it from the child's perspective, even say the upbringing wasn't the most perfect or whatever, it's like Kat's saying, really the main thing is that example. And like I say, even if it wasn't perfect, even in just living the way that each parent does, they're giving that example and they're giving that child the tools to continue in life, you know what I mean, in the right way. So even if things weren't perfect, you know what I mean, it's like, yeah, you still gave them the tools to be where they're at right now, and that makes all the difference as well. So yeah, it's because you know, life is messy. It's never, we could intend it to go one way and it doesn't, you know, and so yeah,
the biggest thing I'm getting from here in all of that, energetically rounding that up, is being more honest with your children will go a long way. Be more honest, own stuff with them, own up with stuff look at, I've got the baggies coming again. I already fed it once this morning and I'm just
like, hello.
Because they'll come and sit on the computer on the chair and I'm like, I'm doing a live here, you know. Come on, girls, I already fed you this morning. Anyway, so that's why just keep being honest. Keep being honest with our children. And they just mirror so much to us. They mirror so much. So there's a big whoosh of energy releasing right now. So is there anything else? Yeah, Lisa's writing, breaking free from the mold of generational wounds to create a new life for your children. Thank you, Cat and Anastacia, for this. Very much so. All the time, I'm still, as I find my natural reaction, there's a big shift happening here, when I'm talking with my son, I'm noticing the mold I'm breaking from ways that I took on from others, is all I will say. And in that moment, being conscious, I change it, how I deal with my son. So really being conscious is a very big part of this. The random acts of kindness, that's yes.
It is a big deal, but I think also that when you're a parent, you're trying to be honest with your child, but there's still things that you hide inside yourself that you don't want your child to see or feel. And so then when your child gets older, they become an adult. Now you have to deal with all those hurt feelings, those, you know, as a child, as a little girl, those things that because as women, we keep pushing stuff down and down and down. And then menopause happens, and menopause is that chance for you to say, it's time to deal with this, and it bubbles up. And you have to
I
say,
love
okay,
that.
I have to deal with it. And then you deal with it. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Sometimes you're like, okay, I can't deal with this anymore. And then it takes a few times for it to say, okay, it's time to let it go. And then it leaves. And then you can become your true authentic self,
Oh,
who you were
beautiful.
meant to be.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I loved hearing that. I loved hearing that. It sounded beautiful. And I know that the in-between of doing that, where souls are needing a hand in that letting it go, is a big part of, okay, big shift. A big part of the videos and the sharings and the update is helping people to forgive themselves.
Yes.
Is a big one. I know I needed to forgive
That's a
myself.
huge one. That's a huge one. And, realizing too that, we take on a lot of hurt from our parents, but our parents did the best they can, no matter how bad it was,
Absolutely.
and you
Absolutely.
realize that, they did what they could, and it wasn't perfect, like Chris says, but you came through it on the other side, and you realize what their limitations were as parents, and you realize that you want to be better and you want to do better. And then, you do that for your child, but you also have to do that for yourself.
Absolutely.
You have to do that for yourself.
Absolutely. Breaking the mold from the generations, and the when you get to the place of forgiving, when we blame, and then we take a step back and go, shit, they did the best that they could. It's time that I had a look, especially when you become a parent yourself, you then see that. You don't always have to become a parent to see that. And then when you're in it, you go, oh shit, I'm still winging it. And I thought they had their act together, but really they were still winging it too. So there is that as well. We don't all have everything all together. It's just, we've just learned ways to deal with and cope and keep going and being honest with ourselves, and really loving up on ourselves, and finding other beautiful souls like you two to come here in this loving space, and everybody watching to just be a love fest.
Yes, absolutely.
It's really, and you go.
Well, I think that, as I get older, when people are I'm almost recognizing now when people are in a space that, someone's coming off is very, well, you kind of want to pull back, that realizing that they just, just a kind word to them, that I don't get all up in my, like this. I'm just like, wow, they've got some work to do. How are you today? Asking them, and they're taken aback by, they're like, wait, what?
It's so beautiful.
How are you today?
Oh, bless you, honey.
Yeah.
You're so, just this, what a good reminder to that one thing there in itself is huge, to shift the energy. And there's a lot of people outside that are hurting, that are going through a lot, because the shadows, everyone's shadow sides, have come up and out, and it's pretty ugly out there with the emotions that are coming up, that has been buried and hidden. And so we need to keep going and bringing this beautiful energy in. I would like to ask, because it's coming through, to ask you, what are the platforms you hold? What is it that you're bringing through? Please share what you're doing, your passion, your joy.
Two things actually, that I'm doing. So I've been in the fitness realm for a long time, and I saw my father go through chemo and radiation, and realizing the damage that it does, and feeling those feelings of being helpless and you can't help. And so I got an opportunity to take a course through the Cancer Exercise Training Institute to help people post, either pre-surgery or post-surgery, and helping them with that cancer in a way where I'm working with their doctor and I'm working with their physical therapist, and being able to, to give them some kind of feeling of control over their body, because cancer doesn't care.
Yeah.
And, and so that's one part of it, but the platform for, being able to speak, to other people, to other organizations, and helping them realize that, yes, you've got veterans in your organization, but do you know how to talk to them? Do you know how to deal with them? Do you understand what they're going through?
What a bridge
Because
you
they
are.
don't, because they
What
don't.
a bridge. Big bridge. And they
Yes, I'm trying to
don't.
be a bridge. Yes.
No, we're not trying. You bloody are.
Are you-
So none of this trying with you, girl. No, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. But that's interesting that you saw that there was something that needed to be another vacancy, another gap that you like, I need to put a bridge in here to, gee whiz, honey. Huge. I did see that you wrote that you got your certificate. I'm like, oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
It's really good to hear you. And they're receptive to you coming in because you're
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Well, yes. Well,
What can I say?
That is really special, darling. That's core hard stuff. What you're dealing with, facing with people's lives. What a beautiful gift. What a beautiful thing. And that you found that to do that.
it was so, I kept seeing it on Facebook, and I would look at the course and I would say, oh yeah, I can't afford that right now. And then all of a sudden I saw on Facebook, they said, oh, we're doing scholarships. And I thought, okay, let me just try, and they said, oh, you're in. And I was like, oh, and of course, at a time when everything else is happening, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? I'm like, you'll do it. Just do it. I'm like, okay. And I did.
So you're guided, very much guided too.
Yeah.
That's how it happens. So again, when we have faith and trust, we're in that flow and guided, and we slow down, and that's exactly how it goes, doesn't it? Doesn't matter what's happening on the world, and that's how the connection with the universe in the human works, in that faith.
The flow,
and
the flow.
The flow, girl.
The flow.
The flow.
Yes.
And what's your podcast? Can you share a little bit about your podcasts?
Yes, my podcast is called Sisters in Service, and it deals with anyone who has anything to do with the military. So whether you're a military brat, you might be a military spouse, you might be a veteran service organization that helps veterans, but I really specifically love having women veterans on. And so they can, they have that platform, but also celebrating those women veterans who are out there with a business. They're starting a business. They're getting out there. And I want to put their business out there, in a good way.
Yeah.
And tell everybody, hey, look at this veteran. Look what she's doing. So I'm hoping that it helps in some small way.
Well, that's, for me, it changed my life, as I said, and it is changing lives, and you are being that huge, that's a massive. And what about the Woven?
Oh, the Women Veterans Network. So I'm a national consultant with the Women Veterans Network. I started with them when they started in 2017. And I realized after 17 years of being out of the military, I needed that connection. I needed connection. And I thought, this is the greatest thing since, apple pie. And then I've just gradually stayed with it because they've been growing. And we've been, we're getting ready to have our 5-year birthday party here in March. And it's just been amazing, connect with them. When people ask, what is Woven? I said, we connect women. And when you have that connection, you have that support, look what happens.
Talk about a wounded goddess warrior energy healing everybody. I'm just did in the, but it is on a bigger picture with all the energies and everything. It really is the wounded feminine, because I'm getting where, Chris, if there's anything else you'd like to share, just let me know. We are winding up the energies. It's coming through. And I like to give people a few minutes heads up, Kat, before I go, because I don't like the quick goes. I like to just say we're going in a couple of minutes. So I just wanted to hear everything. And it is really that healing of the divine feminine. And in what you're being part of in humanity as well. Your energy is just impacting on such a larger scale. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's been such a pleasure getting to know you. Chris, having you here, being that very calm water type of, just, because we can just go, how we are. We're just like, and then we giggle and laugh like little kids. And then
I know.
So this has been an amazing platform to just connect with the goddess again. And there are times when there's something in my mind saying, talk to Anastacia. Email her. Something's coming through, email her. And I'll say,
Beautiful.
I just need to talk to you. I just need to see you.
I
And then we
remember that,
don't,
yeah.
right? Don't we do that?
Yeah,
And then we
yeah.
connect for a little while, and then we'll go a couple weeks or months, and we're like, oh, let's connect again. So it's very cool how it happens.
The flow is just beautiful. Chris, is there
Yes.
anything you want to share, darling?
Sure. And it's funny because Cat keeps calling you a goddess, but it's like you guys were saying, you're a perfect
I
mirror,
just, in
and
my head, I
that's-
go, you're the goddess. I just don't want to interrupt her. I go, yes, right, goddess. I call her
And
goddess. So I just.
that's exactly it. And
Yeah.
really what I was going to say is her energy, she embodies to me like the divine feminine, and that, she
Yes.
just radiates such like a healing energy, because
Yeah.
just what she's talking about today, and then her service and what she does, it's all about uplifting others, and supporting, just like we were talking earlier. And that's what it's about. That if all of humanity had that mindset, we would be in a whole completely different,
Heart
space.
set
So
too.
Oh,
The
yep,
heart set.
exactly. Hot
that's
set, yep.
huge.
And so I just want to thank you for everything that you do and all that you offer to humanity, and for being here with us, Kat. It's truly been a pleasure.
Thank you, Chris. I can't say no to the goddess. She said, would you? And I said, sure, absolutely.
Well, Lisa said it's been an honor to meet you, Kat. Thank you all for today. Joy Woodsy, thank you, Kat. EJ said this has been so beautiful to watch and feel. Thank you. Marty has said thank you all for your love and service. Natalie, thank you, Kat. Amen, Chris said, Joy Woodsy. So it takes the broken to heal the broken, as you say. Natalie was saying, because one of my sayings is it takes a broken to heal the broken. And I can only imagine what your time would have been like in the military, darling. I just know you've been through a lot, and thank you for being you, and you're living this divine service. For this is this is where the fun comes in, isn't it? This is the joy and the fun. And I often say in New Earth Energies, what we're creating in New Earth Energies, it's about joy.
Yes.
It's about joy, is the vibration, the frequency, the ticket for New Earth is this right here. And the three of us coming in today is part of what I was guided with my passion. Thank you for coming in today, Goddess. And what will be with us in the future, I look forward to whatever it is, because I know we'll always be in touch. And bringing through episode 3. Thank you so much. 333, the Trinity. These are very much what we call Trinity energy divine healings. And today was specifically the crown as well, because really we are all gods and goddesses. And it's about learning how to be a creator God on this planet, is realizing how amazing each one of us are, and how much energy influence in a positive way we can be in being kind, and random acts of kindness in living in that energy. And I loved what you shared, where just give it a go, as you said, Kat, and just stopping and just saying, so how are you going today? To shift that energy is a great starting point.
Yes. I truly believe that. And I was also thinking, when you were talking about high vibration attracts high vibration. So high vibrating people, they collect together, and low vibrating people, you're kind of like, oof, but maybe those are the people that we need that random act of kindness.
You will know, because there's energy boundaries as well, and being smart about it, like, hello.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hi, how are you today? Leave me alone. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
I like it when people walk past me, rude, bump into me, always go, sorry, you're welcome. And I just say, I apologize for them.
Yeah.
I just do. I'm very amused
I used
by
to
people.
do that too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank
All
you,
right.
Goddess, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
I'm so glad you loved it. I loved it too. I don't want to go, but I know that we need to
I know.
keep going. Chris, you're good, darling. Anything else?
That's it. I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. All right, everyone. We're going to leave this love fest. Please know we've got an episode 4 coming up in 2 weeks with Di Udzorn, and that's going to be very exciting because it's about how to let people come in and help you. Now, that is not an interesting one, Kat, because there's an art to that, and a lot of us that, especially in older and human years, and younger ones can be stubborn as well. I'll do it my way. I want to do it by myself, and it takes
Right.
Yeah, don't touch the wet paint. I'll touch it every time. So we're going to go into more the art of emotionally allowing yourself to be that little bit fragile, because that's where our superpower is as well.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Joy to the world is my new earworm, says Di. Thank you. Thank everyone. Awesome Trinity energies from Grace. Thank you so much. From Tanya. Thank you all. From Matthew, Patricia, Pam. All right, darlings. Thank you, everybody. I'll be posting this up on YouTube soon. Thank you, and see you all in a couple of weeks. And Kat and Chris, I'll talk to you real soon. All right, angels.
Right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Thank you.
Chris. Bye,
Bye,
Goddess.
Kat.